Yvonne, welcome to BeatboxTV.
Thank you for having me.
Can you please speak up a bit for us?
Thank you for having me.
So, one thing, why is Thank you for having me. Some voice with Java, I'll be depressed, bro. So, we are here today to talk about mental health, right?
Yes.
I always find it hard to talk about mental health. I always find it hard to talk about mental health. Not because I cannot speak about mental health, but it hurts me to speak about mental health. Reasons being, it's something that a family wish they never hear.
Yeah.
Which is by far no fault of theirs, but it's nature. Welcome once again. I don't want to go there.
Sure.
I don't want to go there. So I have here with me Miss Yvonne Amadria,
Good as what I had with you.
a mental health advocate, a journalist herself. Maybe soon, one of these days, you would see her on her own show, right here on Beatbox TV, taking mental health on a different level. That's her passion. And indeed, at Beatbox TV, we make dreams come true. If only you believe.
Just like,
If only you believe.
just like that. If I could time travel, just like that. I wake up beside you.
Yvonne, let's start now.
Sure.
Mental health. What would cause a mental health? I mean, a stable person, what would cause a stable person to have insanity?
So many factors. We have societal pressure. We have low self-esteem or inferiority complex. I mean, it could even be genetics.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're an individual and you find yourself mostly feeling sad, depressed, anxious, then you should study yourself and realize that you have depression.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, depression is just an aspect of the mental health, right?
Yes.
I ask myself, at what stage can one just identify that I'm in a state of not having a healthy mental?
Okay, so mostly when you love to be alone, when you're having mixed emotions, especially sadness.
Okay.
So when you have no feeling to be active, so inactivity, and then you have sad thoughts, memories coming through, you just quarrel. So you realize you don't even want to talk to anybody. You just want to be alone in a
Sure.
room and then wallow in your sadness. Yes. So the moment you start feeling sad, left out, or you feel like you're worthless, hopeless, you should know that you're heading towards depression.
Okay, now before we move on, okay, let's do this straight.
Okay.
What are some of the common mental health issues? Can you please blend it with like chi yekaka?
Yes.
Mate.
So we have depression,
Okay.
anxiety, phobias. You have substance addiction.
Phobia cries of hope.
There be in your football club. No.
Okay.
They say you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, OCDs.
Hello.
You have trauma. You have what's it called? Bipolar. Bipolar is a very common one we all know. Yes, and Abena has bipolar. Yes, but
Madness.
it's crazy. There's a lot. There's a lot. Mental health is very deep. It has so many aspects, so many topics.
So which one are we looking at today? Let's look at it.
Let's look at okay, so depression, anxiety, and trauma.
All in one.
Yes, they're all
Okay.
in one, so we can relate them.
Okay. So depression, anxiety, all in one, right?
Yes, and trauma.
And trauma. Depression.
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 Most people suffer from depression.
Everybody.
everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, mental health is no respecter of persons. And if I want to say, I mean,
That's what they don't know.
it's about the mind. So regardless of your financial status, and I say, it will happen to you. Especially when you feel you are not achieving something you've set your mind to.
It appears that there are a lot of mental depressions. Let me say that. Like I wouldn't want to categorize like depression and mental as one thing, because out of depression you can graduate to a mental instability.
Actually,
right?
depression is the source of all most mental health issues.
Would you accept our generation we are all depressed?
Or we are all depressed. The youth especially, we are so depressed. Sometimes what's the wadan phone chain pan, she's talking and after he's talking, all happy. Not really known for, but or kasa, you can see that the person is happy, but what you done for like a few minutes and just look at the person's facial expression. Who say all is not well. Some people just know how to hide their depression. They really know how to hide it.
What are some of the natural causes of depression?
So sadness, one, especially the loss of a dear one, and then feeling hopeless, not being able to achieve an aim, or feeling left out. Sometimes you feel like like you were saying earlier, unko, what we school, all of that, yes. So depression, so many factors, but it's mostly got to do with emotions and how you're feeling. And sadness is the topmost. Once you start feeling sad, but then we have chronic depression.
Okay.
We have normal depression that everybody goes through it, because at a point in time you may lose a loved one, you may be sad about it, but then you can overcome it with happy, positive thoughts. But then there are some depressions and it affects your physical being as well. You start being obese. It's like you can even lose weight. You start developing some characters. I wouldn't say this is not you.
But funny enough, our generation feel that. So why
Now I fine.
When it's good,
Not all the time.
so we don't pay attention to what you are saying.
Yeah.
We don't at all.
At all.
Me for once, I know my body. I used to gym, and I used to gym on protein.
Okay.
So when you gym on protein, let's say Jaya, you come back to factory reset. And my factory reset is my belly. Thanks be to God, I have a 1-pack. Next is my breasts.
Okay.
They will fall, or they will bump out. You see, the protein builds the muscles. That is me, my body. I know my body. But some feel that, oh, may I say, na ma afono, besisi an may I say. But no, it's as a result of depression, as you're saying.
Yes. Especially the depression, the obesity normally happens when you have a change of eating habits.
Of course.
You start taking a lot of sweets. You don't even feel for actual food.
I say when you are depressed, you chop by heart.
You chop by heart, and then sometimes not even good food, junk food. You tend to take solace in the pizzas. You like to take the soda drinks.
Okay.
All those things make you gain weight in the shortest possible time. But then if you are mentally stable, in there, like your health, you're supposed to eat right. You wake up in the morning, you have your healthy breakfast and all of that. But when you're depressed, when you get up, you just want some cheese balls to chew on. You don't feel for food. It's like everything you suffer from anorexia.
Please draw the mic closer to you.
Right. So you suffer from anorexia.
Closer to you.
Right. So
yes.
Okay. So yes, you suffer from anorexia, which is an eating disorder.
Okay.
You tend to just like junk food.
Okay.
French fries, pizzas. I'm not saying those foods are bad. Once in a while you can be eating them. But when it becomes a habit, then you should know you have an issue. Especially if you're not feeling for actual food, good food for your body.
How do we detect if someone is actually depressed?
So we live in a social environment, right? We are always interacting with one another.
Yeah.
You should know how someone is. Maybe someone is very bubbly, a very outgoing person. he or she is always there to help, trying to show up when he or she can. Now, at a point, you realize that the person is no longer enthused about anything. When you call the person, just say, "Ni voice, no on, shadan kasa ye, we know each other, we know ourselves, right?"
Yeah.
So when you realize, say, "Wadan phobia start say or trino on pesa onini pape kasa na bibia," it is our duty to talk to them, to ask them, say, "Oh, nanka odi en coming himself odi o ya outgoing person. Na then I say the other answer me who vibe crowd." Maybe the person may open up depending on the kind of relationship you have with the person. But sometimes to yanka sayena for no yeka
Of course.
into nebana sana obi I so depressed, anxious, but untimi nka because say na then I would watch what an anti so and all of that. But ebiana bibi ne hani pakrono.
Yeah.
The person is feeling like, oh, there's no one I meet me in a casa because I see me say cry, me in casa cry, be na wako country will be better. People don't know how to keep things confidential when somebody confides in you. Most people don't know how to do that because obia person or looking good will be in him. And to what for about say, oh, say anything that ham you and say means me in that crowd. I say my kid tray, me person me co school biom, me nam for now come in him. Now why I catch or no, instead of so be encouraging it per chrono, and our man some positive thoughts to say to realize say all is not lost. No, you go about talking to friends about it. Hey, Yvonne cry frame you. Zana or to hona or she type of na sa bibian in koye manu. Or to her crowd, unisika or the school admission forms crowd.
Such a person saying that is also depressed.
Yes, very depressed, and sometimes they themselves they don't realize it.
Before I feel depression is a virus. Before someone causes you to be depressed, the person is already depressed.
Yes, we are all agents of depression.
Of course, because in Komobi Wawa, and when he has a ubedino. Une me kanta de wasama yen kanta de was even wasama ye kan
na ye day.
So you yourself you get mental problem.
Exactly.
Go on.
But then you see we don't see it as anything because we've normalized these things. We've normalized gossip. I mean there are some petty gossips you can have, but we've actually normalized taking someone's issue, then we are discussing it. To say yeah, and then you can't Yvonne Wansem. And I say yeah, you El Patron Wansem. I mean, I think now obeyesa one kasano, and I know that most people who do that talk about people a lot and dwell on their negatives also have issues. But in order for them to feel good about themselves, no, they would have to talk down on someone. Say no ni weaknesses no obi. Do you get it? Obi or issues, serious issues. But say on person obi abe no camouflage. Just be talking about people. Now, so now attention baniso. But you better say, hey, as me see Ashen who come for a saying, will be on one and I'm hacking can't phone some train after your day. So
I get it.
People do that. People talk about people in order to feel good about their own shortcomings.
Yeah.
They cover it up. And I always say, if you're like any individual or why I was to me having self-worth, it will really help a lot because you'll be at your boko hana or koho, your boko hana or koha. Chedan need focus into no obi beka sem shower ebia wo pese and me pese me to kwan ko takrade na sa kwan no cry yes and you a support host that no cry accident cry see was into menko ba wonim dia wo kwa koye water crade.
Okay,
The fact that one can't change pakon nia wo koye ni ntine and say o bibi keke na kwa koye ndi menko ye na yent na ha. Some friends are like that. They always want you to be on the same level with them. If you want to do your masters, you want to upgrade, or see you and cry sika say you, hey, what's your school fees? No, ni boarding, una obeti me and all of that. But wuna wunim wo, and you know where you are going. So you just have to be focused and go for what you want. You can seek counsel.
Yes.
But seek counsel from people you believe would give you good counsel.
There's this adage in Chi that goes, what's it? Quattrocas or Tama?
Bisanidin.
Nipa no orubu wa be wono. Check this vital status. You see, we are looking at depression from one angle. Let's look at it from this angle. Society's impacts as an agent of depression. Here was a statement you made by friends, even downpouring you to the extent that you don't feel to belong. Let's drive away from society.
Okay.
And let's come, not trying to be political, but economical wise, you can be depressed.
Oh, yes.
What could be some of the economic values that could cause depression?
Okay, so we have basically finances.
Of course.
Finances.
Of course.
And
As I day, the way I need money, I'm depressed. If I see money, my accountant is in, so I will see money.
nice.
Boss.
But then finances wouldn't have been a problem on a normal if we didn't have social comparison amongst each other. So it all boils down to interaction with people in society. Because as a young man of about 25, 26, people are expecting that area university, you're supposed to be in a job. And you're supposed to be driving. But then it's not everyone that was born with a silver spoon. Even those who were born with silver spoon, at a point the spoon might have been taken out, so they had to face, reality. So they are trying their best to make it. And I can tell you for a fact that men are the ones who are mostly financially depressed.
Repeat it.
Men are the ones who are mostly financially depressed.
You will grow longer and old. You will grow very long. Chale bema wochre na oni obi aka kire no.
No.
Se bema wochre na shaba we. Ya wa ye kam agina hoy. Oni one cedi a. Wo de mo fa kwan no, not for prostitution, don't get me wrong.
I know, right.
She will be attractive to someone. Ebiana ondidi. The person can invite her over. Charlie enko didi. Hey, you go see me, tell me, say, Charlie, make I take you out.
Just like that. Yeah, just like that.
We're still on mental health right now.
She tell me, say,
on Beatbox TV here. We are on the topic on depression.
if I don't get money,
Just one aspect of the mental health issue.
she tell me, say, she no go.
You are watching Beatbox TV live right now. My name is Patron and my guest is Yvonne Amadia,
I wanna be your dear.
a mental health advocate.
I wanna be your man.
Keep your questions coming in
She says she up
through the comment sections and we would read it out for you.
your dear.
If you would want to send it through WhatsApp, you can send it to me on 050-217-4266. 050-217-4266.
When I don't get money, when I don't get
Yvonne, before we continue, I have a question here for you.
Okay.
I think this is an in-house question. He said, the person says, I say, I am depressed. Okay, he says that I'm a person who likes the sad and depression vibe, right? He likes being alone and quiet. It helps him think and gather his thoughts. He doesn't feel depressed in any way, but rather feels happy.
Okay.
My question is, his question is that normal or it's a symptom of depression? I would want you to relate it to, you see at a point you said that things that we could detect of being depressed is being, how do we call it? Subjective to ourselves, like being ourselves. We don't like going into places. But people also feel that is how they are introverts.
Yes, I was about to mention that. So that is just a personality. Some people are introverted, extroverted, or ambiverted. Ambiverted is a blend of introvert and extrovert.
Right.
Yeah, so sometimes someone can be very bubbly, extroverted, and then at a point in time, introverted, doesn't want to talk to anybody. But it's got to do with energies.
Okay.
So some people, for me, I'm ambiverted.
Okay.
I tend to, yes, because I tend to be very outgoing in places I'm most comfortable in.
Sure.
And then at a point in time, I can be somewhere and feel like I just don't want to interact with anybody. because I have not studied the environment. I have not actually gotten acquainted to the place to be comfortable enough to interact with people. So such instances, it will take time for the person to start relating to people. Yeah, because of your auntie. So if you find yourself always wanting to be alone, and it's a characteristic of yours, that is your personality, you are not depressed. The only time we can detect someone is depressed and being alone is when the person is very, very outgoing, and all of a sudden there's just a drastic downward slide in the person's character and personality. Then that one, there is no harm in asking the person, is everything okay? Let the person tell you everything is okay, or you do your investigations and find out the person is okay. Being introverted is not being depressed at all.
At all?
Yes, at all. It's normal.
Okay, so my next question here to you was that I am a young man who has faced life rejection. I've been betrayed by friends. I've been betrayed by everybody around me. Now I don't trust anybody. The fact that I am not talking to someone, do you feel I'm depressed?
You may not be depressed per se, but you may be acting from a point of trauma. So that is your coping mechanism. You tend not to interact with people because of the countless number of times you've been hurt. So it's a reaction to things that have happened to you. It's how do I call it? Yes, it's a reaction to trauma. People have betrayed you. It's about your emotions, your feelings. So you've lost trust.
Yeah.
You are just safeguarding yourself from future betrayal.
Okay.
So you are reacting from a point of trauma and trying to protect yourself. And also that could be anxiety.
Okay.
Because you don't trust people.
That is exactly what I wanted you to hammer on.
Yes. Because you don't trust people. And anxiety is mostly living in fear.
Of course.
So you realize that even if something looks good, you still want to see the negative side of it. You are not convinced. You are anxious and having a reaction from trauma. And that is very, very, very dangerous, because sometimes anxiety comes along with some symptoms and your blood pressure can just go high. When you are there, you feel like someone is after you. You are panicking. You have palpitations. You have sweaty palms. And sometimes you can even go numb. You wouldn't even feel a part of your body, because it's like you're just reacting and being anxious. Sometimes you know why you are anxious. Other times you don't even know until you start to think about it. So most often than not, it's just best to put measures in place for yourself to prevent future betrayal and getting more anxious. And if that is not working, you can seek counsel or therapy, or have antidepressants that will make you feel happier, so they don't live in a state of fear. Yeah.
Don't you feel before our sisters and our brothers go to the secondary schools, we need a mental auditing?
Yes, actually. So I feel there should be a mental health test for individuals in any institution. And our youth especially need a psyche examination, because some of them are coming from homes where, their background has very strong influence on their lifestyle and their thinking, thoughts, and patterns. So they find it difficult to blend in with others. They need to, in fact, our youth all need to have psyche examination. It's very, very important. But unfortunately in Ghana, we haven't created that awareness for mental health enough. I know that most schools have counselors, school counselors, but how many students know or even make use
take salary
or make use of them? You see, because once you start hitting puberty, you have so many emotions around you, and your formative years, which is from say 4 years to 10 to 11, that's where you pick up character. From your adolescent period, 12, 13 upwards, you tend to build that character. If you didn't get a good foundation, or some way, somehow you suffered from childhood neglect, you grow up feeling like you grow up feeling lonely. So So, into would do school crana, you don't want to interact with people because I also medio beyond pemasem. So it's just it's not we shouldn't take it lightly. I mean, mental health is so deep. We can use like a whole year or more to talk about it.
And of course, we are using a whole year to talk about it. You see,
sure.
The reason why I am saying this, and I was happy when we had the opportunity to communicate, it was simple because people are doing drugs to cover up their depressed states.
Yeah.
People are taking alcohol. And every manufacturing company would never stop producing when there is demand. People don't even know the age as to which you should start drinking. People don't know their system, whether alcohol is good for them or not. Now, I would want to know from you, what is the right way to deal with depression?
Okay, so there's not a specific right way, but then talking, a problem half shared is a problem half solved.
Very well.
So mostly you need to get someone. I mean, we are all human beings. There's someone you can actually talk to. You have a level of trust for the person. You can actually talk to the person. Could be your friend, it could be a parent, it could be a relative.
We cited an example where we made it clear that at a point we don't even trust people around us.
Yes. So that is severe anxiety. And
course.
that one you need to seek professional help.
And people don't seek. That's why we have Abena Korkor'S.
Yes, they don't. It's not as if they don't seek, but how many of us know licensed psychotherapists in Ghana?
Are they?
They are. There is a mental health clinic here in Accra, but how many people know?
The Accra Psychiatry or the
No. It's a private mental health clinic.
Are
So
you
they
serious?
yes, I'm telling you, they have psychotherapists there, and then they help people through substance abuse and then addictive disorders like the alcohol and drugs you mentioned. They help them through it. They do counseling, relationship therapy. They do all these things. So I mean, we just that is mental health hasn't been promoted enough.
Don't you think mental health solution is expensive?
Yes, it's expensive because it's quite scarce. We don't have those professionals around. But make sure you are talking to someone.
No.
And I say you can.
I don't trust anybody around me.
Yeah.
I have been advised to seek professional advice. I went there and the consultation alone fee pushed me away.
So online, there are books online. You can research your symptoms and whatnot. They would give you coping mechanisms.
Have you seen someone who is passing through a mental state that doesn't even want to be near his phone?
Yes. There are degrees like that. Exactly.
The reason why I am saying this is there are well-dressed gentlemen and women out there, but they are mentally derailed.
Oh yes.
I asked the lady why is she not on WhatsApp, and all she could tell me say, "Oko WhatsApp, I be an ex be akwa share status."
Oh.
You see the level of her mental illness. Just say, "Ekwa masisi aninse munu." Because I asked myself some few questions here that Obi show status and no I then. But it is not his or her fault.
No, at all.
At a point, people who cause pain to us, we don't want them around us.
I do that a lot.
We don't.
Yeah.
I know you have a story to share. I know because for someone to pick up an issue of mental health, it means you've been a partaker.
Yes.
Whether directly or indirectly. We will come there. We have almost like 30 minutes more to do.
Okay.
So we will come there. But I want it clear here that they are neatly dressed madmen on the street.
Oh yes.
Mad because they didn't have control over their depression state. And it's out of hand. Because Obi Bakwa Ejumemu, Why depressed with ye? Fanny so a teacher ni. And the mental no. Obey mental anopa. I am mental area. He is depressed.
Yeah.
Now, my next question to you. In your state of depression, what are some of the things the depressed person, and yes, man can depressed or depressive. The depressed person, what are some of the things the depressed person should actually engage himself in?
Yes, so we all have something we love doing. Sometimes if you find yourself getting to the state of depression, you can just, if you love reading, you can read. But sometimes reading doesn't really help because then you have thoughts coming in.
Of course.
So you can actually listen to music or dance. If you love dancing, you can actually dance. So people join.
That's why the girl, she did dance like that. Okay.
You can dance.
I get it. You know, I'm not mentioning her name no more because we know her. She's mad already. Not mad as an insult. But
Yes.
I mean, she has not given herself the chance to be helped.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Because Sebi. Erija wana nwaha. Yare kacho I hear erija wana ni J. Ya kakor ya kebien. Ya shaw aroba wo. I'm sure as a human being you still have a percentage of your brain working.
Yes. Exactly.
Actually, when you are in a mental state, it depends on the type of mental state you are. You are not mad. If you mad man, crackers a beje duane, oba beje duane.
Exactly.
Tena hane di oba tena head. Who ya bejinsu oba. It means a portion of their brain is working. But the issue is not about the portion of their brain. The issue is about what they themselves are still consuming around them. At the point of your depression state, what are some of the things you need to keep around you?
Okay, so we have fun activities or people who make you happy.
Yes.
There are some people when you see them you're just happy.
Okay.
Have those people around you. Or and with those people engage in activities. If you have to go on hiking, you don't even have to have money to go on hiking.
That's why I say that mental health is expensive.
It's expensive, but you can just take a stroll with the person you like.
Stroll and you meet the person who caused the stroll on the road. We are talking, we are laughing, but it's a serious issue. Now, let me come back to this. Are you aware? Most depression states in women are caused by rape.
Oh yes, sexual abuse.
Exactly. But the issue is not about the sexual abuse. The issue is about letting it go. Now, this is it. I am complaining. Nobody is paying attention to me. How do I help myself? Aside having people who have fun around me, how do I help? I feel that one, you need to avoid competition.
Yeah.
At a point, avoid competition.
Yeah.
Avoid comparison. You understand? Do away with places. You know, I was telling a guy that, look, hey, to stop smoking, stop being around where they smoke.
Oh yes. Stop relating with smokers.
But on also say, Maza, forget it. Look, but down for then you have to turn a crown. What's the more from a hey. So going back to your addiction is easier than starting a new addiction.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Do you get it?
I get it.
So now, what do I do to help myself? I need to build my self-confidence.
Yes, exactly. But then how do you build your self-confidence?
By realizing that I am falling. You understand?
Yeah.
Inside America there, at a point, why can the baby Juma?
Yeah.
So the little percentage of the battery now, what do you do with it?
So that is where you need to sit yourself down, have a thorough reflection over your life, and ask yourself, maybe in about 5 years, where do I see myself? So you need to set a target for yourself. Yeah. You need to have an aim, a goal. It could be something you normally do at your leisure, but then try to make it an activity you are going to be doing constantly. Maybe if you like talking, you can start a podcast. Just have a self-realization. Look for something. We all have potentials in us. So look for that potential and tap into it. It may not come easy.
Okay.
It will take a while because you are actually going to sit yourself down and reflect. But then ask yourself, the first question is to ask yourself, are you happy?
Yeah.
No one can make you happy except yourself. So are you happy with the life you're living? What do you want to achieve? Or what do you want to have? Or what do you want to be noted for? So you sit yourself down, you think about all these things. You realize that you start thinking about the things you've done, the time you've wasted, and then how best you can take yourself out of it. Like I said, it takes a long time. It can take you a year to have that self-realization. It can take you a very long time. But then you need to start. We have habits of brushing things off. At a point in time, it hits you. Hey, I'm not doing the right thing. But then, have you actually heard that voice telling you are not doing the right thing?
Yeah.
You just brush it off because you don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
You are running away from the actual reality on the ground. You are running away. But then, if you should allow yourself to think through your life, you will be able to sit down and start correcting things around you, starting from maybe friends or starting from habits you used to do. So you realize that maybe your circle is not helping you. The kind of people you move with, they're not helping you. When you meet, what do you talk about? Do you talk about girls? Do you talk about boys? Do you talk about, all these funny things? Or you talk about ideas? You discuss visions, dreams. As a group, where do you want to see yourself? So for me, I have this thing that anytime I meet someone, first question I ask myself is, what impact would this person make in my life?
Yeah.
If I realize that you are not really going to make impact, you're just going to take space and time.
Charlie, in fact, we need to even do mental assessment.
Oh, yes.
Before we even go into relationship.
Yes, exactly. It's very important.
No, we are doing this it's a whole long issue. Every Wednesday is a mental health week, a day. Every Wednesday in my studio. Because obit you or see the obeti in a area, then he goes back into sorrow. We give hope. That's why I start my morning show with a live worship. For you to know that your situation is not above God. People can be depressed and even say there is no God.
Oh, yes.
That's depression.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So at a point, I will let you know that God is capable. From there, we come back to things that you yourself, because there is a saying, heaven wouldn't just clusterize things and put it to you there, Charlie. You have to. So you are the first agent of change.
Exactly.
Now, few of my friends who are men of God will tell you that things happen for them to convert to become pastors. You are a well-trained journalist. And you are not chasing after political looting. You are not chasing after government documentaries to be working with the joy. What was your experience for you to choose mental health?
Okay, so
I hope you have no problem.
I have no problem.
Okay, go
As
ahead.
an advocate, you should be able to share your story sometimes. So I grew up having a very lovely home, right? And then you realize that you don't need anything from the external sources. And then growing up, people made me feel like I'm not enough. Not from my home. I mean, from my home, they tell you are capable of everything. But then when you meet people, you start interacting with people outside of your comfort zone, they make you feel like maybe you're not good enough. Or, what it's not say. or you're always last. You're not even chosen. You're not even seen when you get out there. Now, I happen to be the kind of person who reads a lot. I like to spend my quiet time reading. And so I tend to have a lot of knowledge, if I can say, on some issues. So I go out, and then maybe we are a group of friends, we meet, we are talking, and then I start to divert the conversation to talk about a specific topic that we can all share. But then you realize that they are not towing my line. You're not listening to me, so I feel like a weirdo. I'm like, why is that when I'm talking, nobody wants to listen? They want to focus on something, but I don't want to focus on that. So I felt different. I felt I was different from people I always see around me. And then through to JHS, through to SS, and then the university. I chose journalism because I wanted to go into newscasting. I loved the flair and how, the people were talking and behaving on set. And I was like, I like this. So I entered into journalism. And while in school, I realized that most people are in school not because they want to be there.
Of course.
But because they've been told to go. So you realize that people are just doing all kinds of things. I sit back and I'm like, hey, but we came to school for a purpose. Why aren't they trying to realize that purpose? I just took my time to actually study people and study how they relate with each other. After school, I found myself alone mostly. And I just started thinking.
After uni?
After uni, through to service, I was like, okay, what can I do to help myself or even help people around me? But then something happened to me. I lost a loved one. And that put me in a state of serious depression. Because I felt like everything of mine, the person was very close, a parent.
Okay.
So I felt like he was my everything. So now that he's gone, what next? I just lost track. I didn't know what direction to toe. And then, when you lose a loved one, a relative, a parent especially, and then you have families around you, sometimes the family don't really help you to cope with your grief. They rather add to your grief.
Of course.
So I found myself alone mostly. I started falling sick.
Do you know why they add up to your grief? They want to depress you to take their properties.
Right. So I just felt not loved because I felt the person who loved me is gone.
Okay.
So I felt lonely. So lonely is the key word, lonely. Okay. And I didn't get people around me to even encourage me that, oh, you are loved or you will be fine. No, it wasn't like that. Now I started having some behavioral patterns. I would be moody mostly. I wouldn't talk to anybody. You ask me a question, I could be very snobbish.
Nobody do you something.
I could be very snobbish. And then I started falling sick. Now, falling sick, I thought I had malaria. So, but I'll be having malaria test and it comes out negative. But the symptoms were there. I was sweating. I'll be panicking. I'll be getting palpitations. I sometimes even forget what I'm doing. Absent-mindedness was something that was constant for me. I could be doing something now, and then maybe someone will call me. The next minute, I'm blank. I don't know what I'm doing. I have to sit for a while and think about it. What was I doing before I get to it? You tell me something, and then I like, oh, I've heard you. But then the next moment, I forget. I'm like, what did you say?
Can you imagine?
So I was depressed and I was anxious. Now, anxiety is such that it affects your physical body.
Yeah.
I started feeling nauseous. I started vomiting. Like, I was actually sick, but it was not anything medical. It was mental.
Sure.
I lost weight. I was vomiting here and there. I didn't even want to see anybody. Everybody just annoyed me. And I just, at a point in time when I was doing self-medication, I realized that no, it could be more than just something normal happening to me. This is strong. This is very, very deep. And I needed help. So I have some friends at church that sometimes I spoke to. So I remember talking to a friend, and then I was describing to her what I was going through. And she was like, she had a cousin who was going through similar things. But then the family thought she just doesn't like people. Oh. Eventually, the cousin committed suicide. And then they realized that it was something mental that was happening to her, but she didn't have anybody to talk to, not even her parents, because they were strict. You can't even go sit with your mom and dad to discuss anything. They were very strict. So she started telling me that I need to talk more about everything I go through. Okay. So she would be there to listen to me. Anytime I feel down, anytime I feel like I'm hopeless or lost, I should just reach out to her. She will listen. Listening helps a lot. If you have someone you can actually talk to and the person will listen to you and not judge you. Listen and not judge. So I luckily for me, I got this friend I could talk to. And then I realized that she would be engaging me in other activities. Oh, let's go here. Let's join this singing group. So you start being active. So what I realized was that because I was mostly inactive, the anxiety was eating me up. I didn't want to go anywhere. I just want to stay indoors and wallow in my anxiety and depression. I couldn't eat right. I just couldn't do anything. But then when I started talking to her, we started engaging in activities. Oh, let's go to town. Sometimes you just go to town to walk around. Oh, this dress is nice. Oh, this and that. Window shopping. We just go and do that. So for someone who had someone to actually listen and help me out.
You were fortunate.
I was fortunate. But it's not everyone who is fortunate.
Of course.
So if you're not fortunate, what you can do is actually sit down and pray. Prayer really helps.
Let me tell you one funny thing. When I was depressed and I was walking on the street from Awochi to Accra, someone who knew me saw me and was sitting in a trotro. At least in one kind of member for trotro, top pure water. I should drink the pure water and continue my journey to Bethlehem.
Yeah. So that's one aspect of the other thing that triggered me.
Let's keep the rest because week after week, we will be breaking it down and we will be letting people know. Adjoa, let me come to you. Have you ever been in a state that you've never been in yourself before? Yeah, sure. What caused that? Let's listen to your side of the story of mental health.
Yeah, I think with my side of the story, I would like to commend the whole group here. This is an issue that we really have to talk about it if every minute, every second, every day, because like you meet people and you would know very well, especially like for some of us who normally use commercial like transport, you meet people on the street and you know that Charlie, this person is frustrated. This person is going through this. This person is going through that. Because you could have instances whereby people even crossing the road and you have a vehicle approaching them.
Charlie.
Then you know that Charlie, this person, no, there's something going on. So you see, this thing, I really want to commend you guys here because like it's something I think we should take it global, take it like to the schools. We should have a whole setup in schools. It will really help people. The only time I went depressed, I know most of you here because like this is my home, this is my family, this is my second home, is when I lost my dad.
Your father, yeah.
You know, and for some of us, we have this mental strength because of like the memories we've put in our small closets. That's why we can fall on and say, oh, God did this for us, God did that for us. And prayers did help me. It got to a time, look, there were things
my brother was fasting like an
I'm
animal.
telling you, because like, if not for God,
he can fast like 70 years.
If not for God, like, I wouldn't have gone through that phase of life, you see. And I would like to say this, look, keep doing what you're doing. This is the first time to meet you too, and look, this is something that needs to be like
Said
said every time, because hey, let me say mine. Look, at times I could be in a room, then I'll be seeing different images, like yes, hallucinations.
Thinking your father they come.
Yes, and
go
like
job and go
yeah, trust me. And see, and you could feel that I'm not well. It gets to a part you see me just like shivering or shaking, and Charlie, I think Charlie guys.
So the next time you are shivering,
yes,
and you are not happy,
yes,
Ifo has this thing for you. Listen to it.
Hello,
Listen.
good morning.
Listen to
My
it.
name is Elfo Gasso.
Okay.
Anytime I am bored,
wait,
I
wait,
listen
wait.
to beat.
So when you are bored, all you
Yes.
have to do is just listen to Beatbox
Yes.
TV. Bring to you quality health topic every Wednesday, every we will talk about it. We need you alive. Always want to be with you. We always want to feel you are a family. Always want you to know if they hate you, we love you. Even your last words, let's get out of here.
Okay. I as a mental health advocate, I would want each and every one of us to try to be accommodating. Let us be each other's keeper. Let's be there for our friends, because it takes I mean a lot of courage for someone to confide in you.
Tell you.
So when a person does, just listen to the person without judgment. You can offer solution or guidance or counsel, but don't judge. Because we are all agents of depression, and we can all can be victims of depression and mental health issues. So we just have to be each other's keeper and love one another as yourself.
Ajua, I thought so, Anna. Say first, no, it's mental health on a different level. But see, I know what yes, mental health. It's like a snap of your finger. Joe, your last words, let's go.
Have good friends around you.
Better.
Exercise.
2. And give me money. 3.
The money really needs.
If you give me money, you
Now
will
we
never
all-
be depressed. You see this man there, the one who just came.
So-
Don't they give me money, so always they make it. Thanks to my production, my cameraman today, where Cello. He goes by the name Geoffrey Ame. Yeah, the person the friend here, Cello. And on camera 2, Godwin Boot, aka Jaw, aka Bob, aka Bingo Papa. I always tell you, it can only get better. Day in, day out, we accept our mistakes. We can never walk backwards. Only the person behind us that could show our footages of our footsteps. Because when we are going astray, we need the one behind us. Give us a knock and say, Jack, come back to the rail. Thank you so much for accepting Beatbox TV into your home. Over 30 viewers started with us and ended with. We are grateful as a new media. You have shown us immense love. What shall we say? We will never keep you depressed. We will love you, always be there for you.